What is up, everybody? Welcome to Mount Mograph. I am so excited. Today I am releasing the Mount Mograph motion script, and this is literally going to change how you animate inside Adobe After Effects and how you look at animation in general. So I know that sounds like a big thing to say. I made it and I have been using it every single day, and a lot of the people I work with have also found it to be incredibly useful as well. So the price, it says, is $25 if you use the promo code Motion Party for the first month. So all the way till July 27th, it's going to take 20% off in the shopping cart. Totally secure website and everything. Just go on over to the link in the description, down into the store, and click Motion, and there you go. It'll do a whole secure checkout for you, and you are good to go. And you are going to get the Mount Mograph version 1 that we're going to go through right now. So this is actually, it sounds like a lot of money, and I hate that it is $20, but when you look at how many pieces of pizza you get for $20, I think it's realistic, because this is going to come with a lifetime commercial license, and also with this license, it's going to come with constant updates. You know, I have implemented something in there. It's going to notify you when there's a new version. You can go download it for free once you buy the license, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. I have a lot of cool stuff planned, and like I said, it is a really good tool, and yeah, I would be buying it if I didn't already have it. So anyway, with all that blabber out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. When you download it, you're going to get this compressed folder. Simply open it wherever you want to download it. I have opened it to my desktop. Inside, it has the software, or the script has been tested all the way down to CS5. I was only able to save down to CS6 for you, and I just put together a little demo file that we're going to go through today. And then there's also this XML that you might be able to open in CS5. I'm taking a guess. I've tested it down to CS5. I forgot to save a demo in there though. So anyway, and then you are going to have the motion JSX bin where all the magic is going to happen. So if you don't know how to install these scripts, it's pretty easy. You can open the README and just read on how to install it. There's Windows and Mac directions and some other junk in there as well. So for me, just going over to your applications, Adobe After Effects, whatever version you're using, as long as it is CS5 or above, you're going to go on over to your scripts here, your script UI panel, and just drop this JSX bin right here into your script UI panel, and you are good to go. So with that out of the way, all you're going to have to do is open up this demo if you would like to, or you can just start playing around with the script and have a good time. I'll try to go through this quick, and this is a basic demo. I'm going to get some more stuff up later this week, going a little bit more into detail, but this should give you an idea. So when it opens, it's probably going to pop up with an error right away, depending on what your After Effects settings are. Let's see if we got something. Looks like it actually opened up fine. So I got I know why. So we got this After Effects open, and we're just going to go through and I'll show you all about how this works. So this is not the motion script. What you're going to do to load it is go up into your window here and go down and select your motion JSX bin. So mine's sitting right down at the bottom. You might have some other scripts in there. Just select it. It's going to pop up with an error, and this is actually fine. It says network access currently disabled, and this is just going to help it so it can auto update for you, which would be nice. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So anyway, you can hit close and it'll just pop up over here and you can dock it. But before I even dock it, I'm going to go over into my After Effects menu, my preferences, go down to General, and I'm going to go ahead and click this option right here called Allow Scripts to Write Files and Access Network. So that's just saying, can I have this motion script just go and check my website to make sure there's not a newer version available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK, and then now we have this motion script, and it looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look like it does a whole lot, but when we get into it, I hope you guys like what you see. So I'm going to go ahead and just dock this wherever. I'm going to dock it probably over here, and just you can resize the window. And I'm going to go through this and try to give you as much details as I can to get you guys just rocking and rolling, saving time, saving money, and doing all the good stuff. Anyway, so let's go into our window here and just pop up our line tool. I'm sure that'll come in handy at some point here. And I'm just going to go and dock this beneath my motion window here. Maybe slide this out just a touch more. And that is looking pretty dang good. One more thing I'm going to want over here is just the effects controls, because that is going to be helpful. So just go down to your your effects controls, click that. It looks like mine's going to pop up over there, and that's going to work just fine for me. I have no issues with what that has done. So there you go. You have the motion script open. It's right over here. Some of the stuff might look moderately familiar, but it's going to do a lot more than you expect. So anyway, we have this open, and we have this basic stuff set up. Like I said, you're going to want to go into your allow scripts to write files and access networks, just for a couple little things as well. So the first thing, I'm just going to go over the basic UI of this. So if you look at this, this all does some stuff, I hope anyway, and we're going to go and just hit this little question for more information, blah, blah, blah. You can read this. It goes a little bit more into depth what all the tools do. You also have links to the website if you ever want to go there, and I don't know if you would ever want to. You have a link to the YouTube summits where I will always be putting up free tutorials as long as I can, and that's part of what this script is for. I've kind of like passed up on some work and some jobs just trying to upload videos, and I know it's been sketchy lately. But man, I just love doing that, and so I'd really like to be able to keep doing that. So in a way, this motion script is helping me help you, and yeah, it's just fun. Like I said, if I don't sell any of these, I'll be totally happy because I will use this every day still. So anyway, one more thing, and I'll keep talking, is you just can go and click this little button here, and it is your settings panel. It's going to pop up, and you can actually hide if you find that you just don't use one of these panels very much and don't find it very helpful. You can just go and actually hide these panels. You can hide all of them and just keep this nice question mark here if that does it for you, and I would recommend not doing that. So I'm just going to go ahead and unhide these, and that'll save your preferences as well for the next time you open it. So I'm going to go ahead and click close, and then I don't really need to read this anymore, and also click close. So there it is. That is just the basic UI of this. I suppose we should get into something I'm sure you guys are all thinking about right here, is what is this thing? This is the all-powerful speed. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the second window right here. If you're you can just go over into your compositions. They should all open like this. Just go and click speed. There we go. We got a second window. So this is just a horrible design I put together, and I'm going to just try and walk through what this does. So if we're looking at this window, the first thing is, if I slide these, you're going to see some numbers change, but obviously nothing is really happening on our screen, which is just no good. So what would happen if we grab one of these items and we drag this? Still nothing. So at this point, I've made something totally useless. The magic here is this pretty much erases the need for a graph editor inside After Effects, and it is awesome. It saves so much time, and I'm sure you guys will have a lot of fun using this. So if you just grab this null controller right here, the move, you can just move this as a big group, just wherever the heck you want, and just drag it around. Whoa, don't scale it like that, but you can just drag this controller around to see what's up, and put this wherever the heck you want for now, and that'll just move them all together. They're all just parented. So what happens here is, if I grab a rope, like I'll grab this hold keyframe. So I'll actually grab this dude and just pull it out over here and press R to bring up my rotation properties and just set a keyframe. So I'm going to set a keyframe at about 9 frames in here, and I'm going to go forward to about a little after a second and just set this to like 45. So typically you would just play this animation, and yeah, that looks really nice. I don't like that at all. So let's try setting this to like 180. And now let's see what's happening. So now we still have this really awful movement. I might actually scale this up so I can actually see what's going on here. So as you can see, this is just horrible. You have your linear movement, and it just is not a good look. So one of the ways you can fix this is you can either use expressions like an ease and whiz script, which I've mentioned in some other videos, which is not that good. It's nice to get a quick and easy band-aid over your stuff, but you don't have a lot of flexibility, and that is what the speed gives you. So if you press F9, you can get your easy ease. And then from there, you typically would have to go into your graph editor just by clicking this button. Select the little guys you want here and drag these Bezier handles out, and it is just awful. This is just so time consuming when you have a lot of stuff. It's not big if you're doing like a 10-second video or something. Like you can get by with this, but when you start working on like big commercial projects, this is a time sink. This is just horrible. So what you can do here is just select these. And I'm going to show you what these sliders do now. So if I have keyframes selected, whether in my graph editor, if you do want to use it, I don't even use the graph editor anymore, or you can just select them in your timeline. When you have them selected, you'll see this is called ease out, and this one's called easy ease, and this one is called ease in. So if I have keyframe selected and I actually drag the slider, this is going to change the velocity at which the keyframes happen. So basically, this slider, no matter where you are, in the graph editor, in the timeline, it's going to be affecting whatever keyframes you have selected. So it is no different than selecting this keyframe and clicking this little guy if you're very accurate and sliding it out like this. Also, I should mention if you should go and just turn on your edit speed graph. That's a very nice view. And then also go and click show animated properties in this little eyeball right here, and that'll be nice for this video. So as you can see, it could be just awful. I'm working with just one keyframe, and this could get really annoying after a while. Just doing this and not even getting good movement. So I can just grab both of these and I can set this to whatever I want. Like if I want a really nice, smooth movement, I can set it to something like this. And there it is. That's still pretty basic. That's at 15. If we set it up to 100%, we're going to go ahead and get a nice snappy movement. Just like this. And then once again, I can set it down to whatever. Let's call it 58 for now, or 62 or something. So as you can see, we're doing a little bit more interesting movement, effortless with the speed graph. And I only have this open just to illustrate what it's doing. So if I, for example, that's just called easy ease. So that's affecting everything both on its in point and out point. So I guess at this point, I should probably set another keyframe just to illustrate what's really going on. So now I have 3 keyframes here, and I can select them either here, or I can select them in my speed graph, and I can grab them like this, and then I can just move them. And as you can see, they're all changing at once. So you'll notice when I turn it down to 0, we're actually getting something weird happens. Like, what is this? Well, what happens is when you set this down to 0, I realized it would be nice to actually go back to different kinds of keyframes. So for these, when you set this middle one, which is your easy ease, down to 0, you get linear keyframes again. So it's like back to square one. And it's a really nice way just to jump back and get the starting animation you most likely had. So here it is. We have our junky movement. It doesn't look that good, like I've been saying over and over. I'm gonna actually set this to like -180, and let's see what that does. All right, so we still have this linear movement, and like I said, not doing it for me. This is awful. So just grab these here. You can grab your easy ease and immediately change them all. I actually changed this last keyframe like an idiot back to its very first number, so it looks like nothing happens. So I'll set it to -270 here. There we go. Now we have some more interesting stuff to play with. So I just easily like grab, select, and drag, and you're going to get a change. This is like the equivalent of throwing an expression on here and being like, oh, base the velocity, blah, 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 do all this junk. Horrible waste of time, and it's not very handy. So there we go. I have this basic animation. I can select, I'll show you these other two. So then at any point, I can just drag back and reset it. If I set it down to 0, it's going to become a linear keyframe. You can see that change right here too. So I can grab a keyframe and set it to linear just like that, no problem. So the cool thing is these other two graphs also function similarly. I can grab stuff and I can just drag this front one, which is easing out. So that's leaving a keyframe. If I drag this, I can turn it up to 100. And I can turn this out point down to like 15. So it's going to very slowly and gradually arch up into the movement and fastly arrive at its location. I'm explaining this horribly, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So I can just easily, without doing much, I can get so much control over keyframes, and we're just doing a very junky example right now. So another cool thing is if I have keyframe selected on this top one, if I set this down to 0, whoa, we get a different kind of keyframe right here, and this is called an auto Bezier handle. So what this does is it bases it on velocity, and you're going to get a nice kind of overshoot and smooth animation. So this isn't great for everything, but it definitely has its uses, and I'll show you a little bit more later. Additionally, on this ease in, you can just arc it up to something, and if you set this one down to 0, you're going to get what's called a hold keyframe. So this hold keyframe is no different than flicking an on or off switch, saying as soon as the time indicator hits that number, I want to switch to the next number. So as you can see, well, not really, because it's all been rotating to even numbers. I'll rotate it to some odd stuff. But basically, as soon as we scrub over it, it's gonna like jump into these different. Well, this is just going horribly. Why are you not updating? Oh, I see what I did. Sorry, guys. I was kind of just going with this one. So as you can see, it's gonna hit those things and it's gonna just jerk into place. I just picked some really poor numbers. They're all even for some reason. Bad illustration of this. I regret doing that. Anyway, as you can see, we now get that on or off action into these keyframes. At any point, I can grab them. If I set this up to 72, you kind of have that idea it's going to be like this kind of graph. And then if I go and turn my ease in up to 100, I know it's going to be like this. The graph is probably going to look like this. So if I go and click into my graph editor to check, lo and behold, it's looking pretty good. So there it is, man. That is what you got to do, just for the basic movement. So I know this doesn't seem that cool yet. You're like, okay, that's all right. What's the big deal? This is definitely kind of cool, but I thought we could do more. So what I did is you can now actually preview your animation before it even happens. So normally when you grab a graph editor and you go into your graph editor, even if you are if you love the graph editor and that's your thing, man, you can just go into your settings and just turn off the speed thing and never even use it. But I'm telling you, this is the way to go. So if I drag this, you're not seeing, it's going to change. Like the animation changes as you're doing this, but sometimes that doesn't work. You kind of lose where you were. So what you can do if you grab the speed is you can actually preview. You get an outline of where your object is going to be. So you have a reference of where it was. And when you let go, it's going to snap into the place in a reference for where it's going to be, which is the outline. So this is incredibly helpful for when you just have like these perfect animations you need to line up. If you were just like really struggling, you're like, man, I need this to like hit perfectly on time with this other object or something. When you get into some advanced keyframes, this is the way to go. And like I said, I'm just messing around with one right now. So why don't we go ahead and I'm going to show you what is called, well, not really what is called, but this would just be like a mass keyframe change. So I can grab a ton of different properties. I'll just set keyframes for all of these, and I'm just going to drag these around randomly, set my numbers just to whatever the heck I want, and just probably make this look really, really bad. And this is just to illustrate how cool this can be. So I've got a ton of, like a mess. So if I grab all these, go into my graph editor, now you're dealing with trying to grab these different little properties in here, like grab this little guy if you can, and then you got to pick this right handle, then you got to zoom out and just see what the heck you're doing. Like this was one of the worst things I've ever experienced, and I hated this. So this was not for me. As you can see, this starts to look stupid. If I just go ahead and select all my keyframes, boom, just like that, I can just go and change them all nice and equally. And there we go. That's all nice and synced up. I can ease them out a little bit. I can set some kind of weird movement. And let's see what happens. Now we're going to get a totally dynamic movement. I didn't pay attention to what I was changing up here, but as you can see, our animation has just become so much more alive. And the thing is with this is we can just go and really focus on different sections. If I'm like, I want these properties just to like rock it out super fast. I want these properties right here to actually arrive really I want them to arrive on a linear keyframe. I want these to kind of come out nice and smooth. These, I guess I'll do a nice easy ease. And then when I click back, we can really start to see our animation coming together. So now when I'm looking at this, we're starting to get just absolute craziness. Your animation just looks so much more alive because you have that nice jerk. So unlike expressions that affect everything equally, this is where you have like the control. Like as an animator, you can do so much. You can grab this, you can be like, everything's even, everything's going to be a nice snap, easy ease, 100% velocity. Everything's going to be very like bouncy and jerky, and just it looks very I don't know, like sparky. So now I'm probably not ever going to use the graph editor again, to be honest. I can show you for some more references, but we can go back, we can set these all to linear just like that. You see the change happen. We can go set these to auto Bezier, and we're going to get some really weird looking graphs, but it is helpful, and I'll show you in a little bit. Just we can do all kinds of stuff like that. I can grab all these and just set them to our stutter, which is this hold keyframe. So it's just going to jerk around, and that's what I was talking about. You can get kind of like a stop motion animation pretty effortlessly. In order to normally get this, you have to right click your keyframe, go into keyframe interpolation, and go and select these stupid settings here and say okay. And once again, it's a time sink. You're wasting time, and as an animator and a motion graphic artist, you don't want to waste time. So here we go. Like I said, this is awesome. Once again, I can just copy these keyframes. I can go crazy. I guess I can, I will paste these keyframes onto this one, and this will affect as many keyframes as you have selected. So it looks like I've just pasted this in a horrible area. So let me go ahead and just expand my timeline. Man, I'm getting all excited talking about this. I am, yeah, sorry guys. Actually, I'm not sorry. I think this is good. This is a good little learning example. As you can see, now I have tons and tons of keyframes. Why don't I affect these all at the same time, make them all linear, boom, done. Make them all have a nice snap in. I'll set that up to 100. Like I said, there you go. You're starting to just get some really nice animation. And if you wanted to somehow time this blue one up for some reason, you wanted it to, like, at some point you wanted to see how you could control it. Let's see what I am changing. I should probably grab a keyframe here. If I wanted to just see how much I could change with that, I'm grabbing scale. Let's see our position here. So if I am like, man, is there any way I could get it closer to my object? It's not changing that much because my keyframes are close, but you can see I can get a very good reference of where my animation would be. And this obviously is somewhat dependent on where you set your keyframes. I set mine like an idiot. So there that is. And yeah, this is just a really great tool. And there's, once again, this is just a little bit of our suite. As you can see, I'm previewing the animations right now. This is a little bit of the suite. We haven't even gotten into the rest of it. And, just with this tool even, you will save so much time. And then if we go and look at our graph editor, does anyone really want to mess with this? I would say not. That would be rough. We've all been there and done that. I think it's time to move forward and get on with our motion graphic design. Focus on the design, not so much wasting your time. So great, we are down to examples. Let's go on over to our anchor point. There is, I've seen some other implementations of this. I just really wanted to build my own just so I could put it in this. So I did. It's not fancy. If you guys have seen my channel, you've seen tools similar to this. But basically, if you draw a whole bunch of objects, the anchor points for some reason just stink. They go all over the place. It's no fun. My anchor points for these objects are just in the wrong places. So when I'm rotating it, they're in stupid spots. There is a shortcut. It's Alt Command Home, and it'll jump to the middle of your object, but you don't have that much control. So you can just go and click these different sides here, and the anchor point will actually jump to the corresponding side. So that is just nice. There's not too much to talk about with this one. You have 9 alignments, and you can once again mass effect layers. If you want everything to be in the top corners over here, you'll see it go through and change everything for you, and just keep this nice and easy. So now I can rotate and pivot them all on the proper axis. So that is pretty cool. Let me see here. Yeah, that's all good. So anyway, let's jump over to our next little window here. That was really quick. That's just a little overview. And if you have another tool you like better than my anchor one, I don't know what else there is, but yeah, mine's pretty basic. If you go into your settings, you can just go and hide your anchor point and be like, man, I hate yours. Yeah, don't use it then. And it's all good. So anyway, in your Excite, now we're going to start getting into some cool stuff. So with this Excite, what this does, I'm just going to go and grab, I guess, this little dude over here. I'll grab my ease in, and let's say on that drag, I somehow put my anchor point up over there. Boom, I'll just go into my panel and center that, or maybe I want it right on the corner over here, and now it's up over there. So that'll be cool. We're going to do a fun animation with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just set a rotation keyframe, maybe around here, and then I will rotate it around this anchor point to the other side, I now have a kind of interesting movement. It looks really nice. And yeah, I would say if this was a client's work, that they would be very happy with what we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. Now I'm rotating and scaling, and yeah, that is a really nice animation. I could go into my speed graph like we just did and change it, and now it's going to have a nice little snap, and I could obviously tweak this a little bit more. As you can see, this is really user friendly, you know, and I've been using it so much, like you totally know what's going on with your graph editor eventually. So I would say this window is useless. Anyway, so we have this all going on. We have a nice little snap. It's looking better, but you know, sometimes you want like kind of an aftershock. You want to excite your movement. So we have a tool for that now. And what this is you can select absolutely any property. So you just select your property, make sure layer's selected. Also, this script is smart. If you have some errors pop up, it'll catch them for you. So let's say we actually, for some reason, don't even want to have a comp selected, and we click this, no composition selected. It'll tell you if we have a composition selected. So we're in our Excite one. It'll tell you no layers are selected. All right, baby steps here, I guess. We'll grab a layer, no property selected. Oh man, okay. So I got to select a property, I guess. So if you select a property and you click your thing, your Excite, it's going to add some secondary motion. So let's go ahead and click this. Boom. What has that done? Well, as you can see in our effect controls, we got some variables that pop up. And if I grab my layer and do double tap E here, like a video game, we're going to get all kinds of generated expressions that are kind of, you know, you could totally animate this by hand if you want. And these expressions are nice because they're variable and they're also keyframeable. So this is just very important. You know, as a motion graphic designer, you don't want to be wasting your time. And when there's like tools that'll just make your life easier and save you keyframes and keep your work cleaner, it's really hard to not say you want to get them. So anyway, let me grab this keyframe here, and as you can see, we're going to get some movement. It doesn't look like it's doing very much. And what this is you need it to kind of be moving at a speed, and then it's got to hit something. So it looks like on our graph, you know, when we select these properties, we are easing into this. So you would select your properties and just make sure you set it to linear, which is really easy. You know, you can, whatever number you have, all you have to do is set this middle easy ease to 0. We're going to have linear keyframes. And now when I play this animation, you're going to see that our scale does this weird little bouncy thing. And now our rotation hits funny. So let's grab our rotation and just click Excite, and we got expressions on both of these. So if I double tap E, we're just loaded. Man, we're like, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, because he's loaded. He's got lots of money. This video's just gone down the hole. I should not have recorded it at 4 a.m. So anyway, I can now play this, and as you can see, we're going to get a nice little wiggle, you know? And what if I turn this scale up? I'm just going to, you know, make this a lot bigger so we can really see what's going on. So now we have a nice little pop into this animation. That's cool. Looks kind of generic. You can get stuff like that with like the ease and whiz script and some other junk. But for us, we can actually go and change all these variables. They will assign themselves to whatever properties you had selected. So your overshoot is going to control the amount of overshoot of whatever the property is. So for our scale, it's now going to really jump out. It's going to get a lot bigger and wiggle into place. So I'm actually going to do something I hate doing. I'm going to jump into the graph editor just to illustrate to you what this is doing, because there is a nice little feature when you're if I can even zoom in here. There we go. I zoomed in. So if I grab my scale, I can hit this little twirl here and go and turn on this option, show post expression graph. And now if I go into my graph editor, we're going to see this is the only time it's ever been useful, and it's not even that useful, I'm going to say. So as you can see, we're going to get this kind of dotted line that represents our expression. So if I unclick this, it's just going to be our normal keyframes, and this shows what our expression is doing to our animation. So I've turned my overshoot property up to 100. If I turn my property down, we're going to see some crazy calculations happening, but it's going to change. So it's going to hit its number and then bounce 43% out and 43% out and slowly decay. So, you know, I can once again bump this up to 100, and I put clamps on this just because sometimes the numbers would break your expression. So if you ever do want to go over them, you can just delete that expression, but I would not recommend it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to like 48. As you can see, that's changed, and it, who knows what that's going to do. We got a nice little wiggle. Let's say it's just bouncing too much. Each of these curve represents a bounce back. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish, and then it wiggles out. That's not going to work. So let's turn this down to like, I don't know, maybe 11%. So now it just kind of like eases out and has a slight little thing and wiggles back in. You can mess around with this, and let's say we want it to die quicker. We'll just turn our friction up like to 100%. So at this point, it's going to be super subtle. And yeah, there it is. That was for our scale property, and I'll actually kill the rotation just so we can really focus on the scale here. So that was almost not noticeable. So let's go ahead and turn our overshoot up again, and maybe turn our bounce up. And as you can see, the graph is recalculating for us and showing us what's going to happen. The more you use this, the less you're going to have to even go in here to visualize what's happening. And you can also just do it by ear. So now you can see we have a nice little bounce. I'm going to click out of here. And so that's that. You can do this for, like I said, any property on any layer. Let's say I want to do it on my opacity for my auto Bezier little icon right here. I can just grab it out. I can grab my opacity. I'll set a keyframe on it. I'll grab my opacity property, click excite, boom, we got all of these properties generated, and yeah, that's nice. And the nice thing is it'll also catch your errors. So let's say you want to add it again on this opacity. No, you already have it. So that's nice. I just wanted to make it as easy as possible where it catches as many errors for you. So you can just really, like I said, focus on your design, focus on your work, and just make something you're happy, because sometimes it's harder to visualize what you're doing when you keep getting like stuck jumping between windows. So this motion script is just going to really make your life easier. So now that we have all this stuff done, like I said, you can jump into your graph editor if you want to see what the animation is going to look like. If you just toggle down their property and click this little post expression graph, you don't need to, and that'll actually make your system go a little bit slower. So don't do that. Another thing with these is you can actually keyframe these over time. So if you ever doing our longer animation and not just 2 keyframes, and you want like you do want that control you're having with the handles here, and you just want to keep your hands in the project. You're getting kind of like an animation, but the expression's kind of kicking in here. What you can do is just make use of your hold keyframes. So we'll just grab our scale property and go and click our slider here and make a keyframe. I'll press U to see what my properties are. And you'll see we have our slider overshoot here set to 56%, which is a pretty decent bounce. So I'm actually going to just drag it over here. I'm going to go ahead and set this to 0. And now what's going to happen is it's going to be 0. So it's not going to affect this keyframe, but all of a sudden it's going to be up to 56. But we have this kind of ease between the numbers. So that's going to add some weird calculations. If you select these and just go over here into your ease in and just set these to our hold keyframes, this is going to be the switch on and switch off. So it's pretty much saying as soon as it hits it, turn the bounce on, and then affect this next one accordingly. So you can really get into your animations. Like I said, I'll put up a much more advanced tutorial a little bit down the road, but as you can see, our expression didn't do anything with this keyframe. And this is nice because you can target different properties of your animation. Super, super easy. So anyway, let's go ahead and just close these couple windows, and I will jump into the next section. I really hope you guys are finding this cool and I am not boring. I'm probably pretty boring. It's also 4 or 5 at this point, so who even knows? All right, so we have covered excite, we covered anchor, we covered speed, we covered these numbers. Wow, that is nice. We have a lot of other stuff to get into. Can you believe it? And there is more to come. So if you're an early adopter of this script, you're going to be in good shape for what is coming next. I'm already starting to work on some really, really awesome stuff. I like this enough, but I have some other ideas that haven't been seen anywhere else yet. So let's say we are just, going crazy. We're adding our excite expression to all kinds of layers, and wow, we're having so much fun. Our animation's looking great. I'm not even going to bother setting keyframes. If I grab all my layers and just double tap our E button here to see all the expressions we've added, this is a lot. So what would happen if we, delete one of these controls because we don't really want to use this effect? You're just going to start to get all kinds of stupid things happening. You could go and delete each one at a time. You could try to set a keyframe. Now you're going to get errors because these controls are gone. It is a horrible experience. So I thought it would be easy just to generate control that just removes whatever you have. So that is half the reason I have it. What am I doing here? That is half the reason I have it targeting the different properties. So if you select a layer and you can see it's a scale property and all this stuff is added and you want to just see it, you can see it is in red. So that means an expression is added. We don't want to break the expression. We don't want to waste time deleting it. So why don't we just trash it? Boom, done. Expressions are gone and your controls are gone for that. But what would happen if we really liked our rotation property on this layer here? Kind of losing what I'm saying. Let's see. So we bring up our scale property, bring up our rotation property. We got some keyframes, we're doing our thing. I don't even know what the property is here. All right, we're doing our thing. This looks good. We add a little bit of motion to it. We rock this up to a real nice 83% ease out. We're going to set this one to linear because we want to add our excite property. We're going to add our excite property on here. We are just loving it. It's looking great. Change some of these properties. As you can see, the workflow for this is pretty effortless. I don't even know what I've changed, but I'm sure it's going to look so cool. So we got a little pop in, it springs, it goes nuts, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, that is just too cartoony. I could waste my time grabbing these. I could even try to select a couple at a time. I could delete them. All of a sudden I'm getting an error. That is not cool. And then this layer still has like that expression added to it. It's a waste of time. So like I said, let's just grab our property here, our rotation one, and we'll just delete it. Or I can just go back in time. And let's say we do want to keep our scale expression on here. So to make sure it's turned on, this trash thing will target whatever property you have selected. So if I click trash, it's only going to remove the properties associated with that property or property layer. Man, I got to get my words together for you guys. Anyway, that is trash, both what I'm saying and what that function does. So let's go ahead and jump into section 6 here. I'm going to close that window. So this is glorious section 6. 6 is going to cover what is called Stair. So this is something I actually have had a lot of fun with lately, and it's kind of just a funny thing to be doing. But it'll really it's like just adding nice things to your animation, like those subtle little things that just really make it come together, really make it look a lot more professional. So with this one, you do not have to, select a property like with our excite. I don't have to go and grab the selected property. It's going to smart assign whatever we need. So if I say I want to add our stair expression to this ease out little symbol here, just go and click stair. We're going to get some generated controls to the corresponding, it looks like it's added to rotation. So I'll go and press R. As you can see, we have an expression on here. You can go check that out if you're feeling it. And what does this do? Well, so far, nothing. We're not seeing any big change, but you're going to see we have something called a stair target up here. And let's say I want it to look at this dude, like this little green ball, he sticks out in this contrasted scene. So ease out here, this guy's like, man, what's he up to? So I just want him to always pay attention. I don't know if he's trying to steal some characters over here or I don't know. I don't want him to take this logo. So I'm just going to go ahead and target him. I'll just grab this stair target, and it looks like I want to grab the auto Bezier, this little sneaky guy over here. I guess this guy has been drinking or something, and he's facing the wrong way. So you have something called a stair calibrate. And I can just get my dude to always face, if I want him to just always be pointing at my auto Bezier as he sneaks around, I am good to go, So I could animate this guy. I could add the little green ball just sneaking around the scene here. I could go way over here, and then I could go, he's going to try and throw off the arrow, maybe up over here. I'll make him move even really fast. Get some interesting movement, and now, oh, my arrow's still following him. That's kind of cool. But what would happen if our arrow is in fact moving and also scaling up? Does the expression still work? The answer is obviously yes. I would not give you guys something that did not work like that. So I now have all this stuff moving, make my keyframes nice and even. We all know what the graphs look like. Let's make them move nice and fast. Once again, you can see how fun this is. This is literally just like made animating so effortless and so much fun for me. So now we got an arrow that's moving. He's always keeping his eyes on this guy. Keep your eyes on the prize. The green guy is trying to steal our stuff. It's not going to happen. So yeah, that's basically Stair. Not gonna be useful all the time, but it is really fun. Something I've been using it for is character animation and eyes. Like if you wanna, a character in a scene to always be looking at something, or also you can attach this to like null controllers for any characters you've rigged. It's really helpful. So anyway, like I said, I'll get more in depth to all these. They have a lot more tools. I'm just trying to give you a basic overview. Let's go ahead into our orbit right here. I'll close Stair out and let's see what orbit is about. So orbit is kind of interesting. So I'll grab this auto Bezier from the last scene. I guess I'll put him back in the spotlight. And once again, we have a smart assign property. So if I want to orbit it, I will click this property. It's going to do a little jump because he's so happy that he's got this orbit property, and we're going to get a ton of controllers that just make our life easy. So let's see what is up with all this. So if I go ahead and just play this animation, it's spinning in a circle, and it looks pretty funny to me. I'm going to go ahead and click this. This is actually named wrong. I'll switch that for you guys when I actually, looks like I got one more change to make here. But anyway, on this checkbox, it's supposed to say on and off. It says orbit direction currently. If I click this, it's just going to turn your expression off, and you will see, or no, this was reverse. What the heck? What is happening here? That was reverse, calibrate, distance. I think I have ruined this video. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep rolling with this. That was my mistake. I think I just was tweaking the line of code. This is supposed to be reverse directions. So as you can see, hopefully, or now it's working. What the heck? Anyway, let me just try this again. That was the worst. Let me try a new dude. I'll put that over here, and let's just see what happens. Maybe I'll catch an error and have time to fix it. I definitely will not release this until it's solid. That is so funny. Now everyone's going to check. Anyway, if I hit this orbit function, it is kind of working. Well, it is working. But anyway, what happens is it actually orbits around its center point to start. So, we're getting this movement here. It looks pretty good. You can mess with your distance if you really want it to be a nice tight movement around its little anchor point. This is nice for background elements or gears or car wheels or all kinds of stuff. You can make this a farther distance. You can make the speed increase till it's going absolutely nuts and looks crazy. You can slow it down, and this is just one of those things that kind of will automate stuff that's going on in the background. Just keep it nice and easy for you. And yeah, just keep your animation effortless because we don't want to waste time. Anyway, you can also have this calibrate feature if you want it to start at a certain area. If you want to line up a couple of them and have them all going at different times, and maybe this one you want to be always on the other side of the other one, and this one needs to be over here. You have a lot of control just with what you can make, and as you can see, you can really do a lot with this just on its basic settings. And then this is supposed to say reverse, and that will be switched, and so now it's just going to rotate the opposite direction. And it's a 5-second timeline. But yeah, so this is all going on. It looks kind of cool. Still doesn't seem like a very robust thing to use. So let me go ahead and just show you another application of this if I don't scale everything up like that. Man, I am so embarrassed that this function was named wrong. That's horrible. So if I click this orbit thing, we have another thing called orbit target. So once again, if let's say this red arrow or this blue arrow has caught this orange thing and is just going to constantly be circling it like a dog or something, we're just going to go ahead and select our hold from this drop down. And now it should, I picked the wrong option here, hold, make sure my anchor point's in the middle. I'll grab my easy ease, and I'm just going to grab my hold keyframe, and it is going to rotate, supposedly, around. Oh, I see what the heck. This was my fault again. I have them parented to a null, so it's affecting my calculations. Don't do that. That was really stupid. Maybe that's why I was getting all messed up. I'm so silly today. Anyway, there we go. Now it's working. Yeah, I had these parented to a null. I'm glad I'm catching this stuff, I guess, in a way. So I had them parented to a null, so my properties were all messed up. End of story. Anyway, let me try this one more time. I'm going to just change my distance and make it closer to my object. There we go. Now everything's working properly. Fantastic. And you can change your speed, so it just is going nuts around this object. You can also animate this object and still have it rotate around it or orbit around it, as well as switch the distance. So it is just kind of a nice feature. It's kind of funny. And you can also start stacking these. So if I took this one and I added orbit and I want it to actually, I want to have that one rotate around the blue one. So I will grab this, and it looks like I want to grab my ease in. So I'll just grab that property, maybe bring it closer. You can hold command if you want to change increments a little bit less in decimals opposed to whole numbers too, just a quick thing. And I'm just going to have it go nuts. So now I have like a whole bunch of ancillary animations happening on top of each other. It's really cool. And this brown screen is very bad contrast. Anyway, yeah, so that is fun. Let's jump on over into our next window here. And this is called Spin, and this is a very long video. Thanks for sticking with it, guys. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you what Spin does. I'm going to go and delete this Move tool because that messed up my last calculations. This is pretty straightforward. Basically, there's a lot of times that it's just nice to have elements spinning. So why not have a function to automate it and not have to worry about easing? So it's a constant perpetual rotation. So I can go ahead and click spin, and now I have a spinning object. You can go and change the spin direction so it's going to actually reverse in a different direction. You can change your calibration if you want it to be spinning at a certain angle at a certain time. You can also change the speeds per second. So this one is just going to be going really fast. Great background elements, great to attach controllers to. If you add null controllers to each of these corners and you can attach them to something, you can do like a locomotive engine. I've been using it for a ton of stuff, like I said. And then there's also this switch to turn off the expression if you just don't really want to see that spin and wanted to place it around and, you know, work a little bit more with that. And you can just start stacking these motions on top of each other as well. So yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, this video is so long. I hope you guys have found some of it interesting and at least laughed at my horrible mistakes in the last screen. So anyway, what happens if we let me show you what this clone is doing. Actually, I'll grab this, delete this move keyframe because I'm stupid, and we'll set a whole bunch of keyframes of our properties, and maybe also some position keyframes here, and just, you know, do something kind of crazy. So all this is cool. I'll press U to see all my keyframes that I've worked with. I'll grab the keyframes. Once again, I can just go and change this real easy to something cool. Just get a nice little live animation with a little bit of pop. So it's all moving around in a very interesting way. Let's say I like it so much, I want to copy it. So I'll select these keyframes and I want to like do that same animation but reverse it. So you'd think if you do Command C and then Command V, it would just paste these keyframes. Unfortunately, After Effects thinks you want to paste the layers, so you end up not getting what you want. Simple fix is this option called clone. Simply select your keyframes and hit clone, and wherever your timeline is going to duplicate the keyframes for you. So that's just like you know, one of those dumb fixes that should just be included in After Effects and for some reason is not. So then you can grab your duplicated keyframes and do something like what am I trying to do here? You can go and like keyframe assistant, time reverse keyframes, and you know, you can just go nuts and just do your thing and reverse keyframes and copy them very easily. You can grab all of them and clone them there. You can clone them here, and just make a nice design in here, because why not? And like, as I said, would you really, if this was a real animation, I'm guessing that no one would want to, let's see, I'll just stagger these so we can really see how crazy this gets. No one would want to ever get into these keyframes. Like, this looks like a mess, and this is what, you know, I used to see every day, and now I just don't even have to mess with it. I know things are changing. You know, at this point I've grabbed a lot of keyframes, so there'll be a little delay in seeing everything happen, especially when you're looking at it, but there is no delay when you have them selected here. So this is hundreds of keyframes that I am just animating. I can grab segments. Yeah, and this is really the most powerful part of this script, and there are more functions still. So now I've just got a crazy animation. I don't even know what's happening, but yeah, that's what it's all about, man. You can just clone this. You could clone this again and again and again and just go insane, and freeze your computer probably. I shouldn't have clicked it however many times I did. Man, 4 a.m. now 5 a.m. I'm making it happen. I'm making a mess over here. So, it looks like my computer is just trucking along here. I clicked it about 10 times. All right, it is all caught up almost. We are mass cloning keyframes just repeatedly. This is a horrible idea. Looks like it's all done finally. So yeah, that's great. Solves the problem instead of doing your Command C, Command V, and getting duplicated layers, which is never what you want, and this looks insane. So let's get done with that one. I'm going to go ahead and cover this one, which is actually very useful if you're doing any kind of motion tracking, or heavy animation work, or you get given a really bad file from someone else, one of your friends who's just horrible, and you don't want to waste time really like tweaking everything, so you just kind of, you know what, you want a quick like band-aid almost. So this is called blending, and let's say we have, you know, just an animation happening, goes on over here, and then I want to, I don't know. So this is what my friend gives me. You know, he gives me this animation, and I'm like, what is that? That is just ridiculous. I try to fix it with my speed thing, thinking that'll smooth it out. And let's say there's actually, you know, we'll clone some keyframes here, and duplicate this. You know, we have something happening. Who even knows? We have some complex thing, and it just looks so horrendous. I'm like, I don't even know what you did here. Yeah, I'm not digging it. So what would I do? You know, typically you'd go in here, you try to tweak your keyframes. You could try doing the auto Bezier thing, which is sometimes helpful, and that's going to just give you a crazy graph, but it's based on movement, and sometimes this will work. You know, things will start to look a little smoother and easing. It is a quick fix, but still, I think we could do better. So let's go and set this back to my wonderful friend's animation. Just totally horrible. Let's say it's easing out of here real fast. One more time. Let's take a look at what it's doing. Yeah, awful. Just awful, awful, awful. So let's go and see what's going on. So if I grab a property, and grab what's called our blend tool, it's going to add some expressions to the selected property, just like that. Boom, boom. Great. You know, we've gone crazy. We've added a ton of cool stuff. Now, what does it do? So once again, we can toggle our arrow and just go show post expression graph, but we actually are not going to go into the expression graph this time. So what happens when you have this selected is it's going to actually preview your animation once again before it happens. So before I put this blend on here, I want to see what's going on with it. So, you know, what would happen if I turn my blend amount, it's just set to 4% right now. If I crank this up to a lot more, my path is actually kind of shrinking here. So right now, I've made my path smaller. So I've set it to 8% or 8% of 100. So now does this look better? Maybe it's a little bit smoother. So let's grab this one more time and turn our blend amount up a little bit more. So now it's starting to almost break. When we're looking at this, you know, now whatever my friend's animation was, it's got all these little like ripples in it. So what we can do is grab our position property and just turn up what's called our precision of the calculation. And this will just recalculate your animation and also smooth it out even more. So as you can see, it's now blending. It's got a really nice, smooth, organic movement. And as you'll notice, what this expression does is it bases the animation, what would make sense with the speed of the animation. So, you know, once again, if we're using our speed window, you know, you're going to have a nice snappy movement to your animation. And in that case, it just looked horrible. But in this case, you know, the keyframes end here and the keyframes start here, but our animation is actually starting and ending after our keyframes. It like kind of eases out. So you can, that's what's so powerful about this tool is if you turn your blend up even more to like 70%, I mean, we've kind of totally lost what our animation looks at. This was an extreme example. Maybe turn your precision down at this point. Let's call it like 40%. And when you are previewing it, you know, now our precision is just not good. We're kind of getting this curly thing. So you'll find what you need for what you're trying to get. And so if I turn my precision up, it's going to round those points out, reevaluate. I can turn this to maybe 25. And we're back to kind of square one, but we have a very nice smooth movement, and it's just another alternative to using junky expressions that you can't keyframe like these to get an animation together. yeah, I mean, it's just a really nice way to blend your keyframes. And then if I do not want those position blend motion on there anymore, just trash it. And then I can also trash my scale, and we can go exactly back without messing up the very original animation. So you wouldn't hurt your friend's feeling. Go back to this. So it's a pretty crazy switch, and like I said, you can put this on absolutely any property, even if all these properties were hold properties, and you just have a nice like jerky motion of just horribleness. What you can do is, once again, just blend out these animations, and it won't always work perfect for these stop ones, but as you can see, we're still seeing our animation, which is pretty crazy. And you can turn it up even more, your precision. And all of a sudden, our hold keyframes have turned into even more functional keyframes. My computer's kind of lagging out on us here, but yeah. So whoa, as you can see, it's kind of struggling on this one. This is a bad example, but it's pretty crazy what you can do. Just to like, there's really no limit. Like, you're not supposed to be able to mess this much with a hold keyframe. It's supposed to stop the movement. But we've been able to blend all these keyframes together and also have the motion still go. So it's a quick fix just to check out if an animation could possibly be bettered. I have actually been putting on a lot of properties. You just get a nice smooth look, a nice blend. So anyway, I'm going to trash this because that looked bad. And let's go over to one more function here. If you guys have ever worked with a lot of layers, just a crazy amount of layers, and let's say these are all, like duplicates of the same kind of function, like I have like, the classic pop effect or something. I have all this stuff on here, and they're all the same kind of thing, just duplicates, and I was lazy and I didn't name them. And let's say they're all the same kind of thing. You can just click name and just enter a name. I'm going to call this like super great video, Matt, ... because it probably dragged out, and then I'll click apply. Instantly we have all our stuff named for us, and we no longer have to deal with the effort of naming all these layers. And once again, if you name like you can grab whatever sections you want. So if I want this section, and I'm gonna actually call this one like I call this motion video. And then you just hit apply and it'll rename it for you. If you select it from the top to the bottom and click name, it's going to name it from the top to the bottom. So that's just a nice little user interface thing. You didn't really need a checkbox. And so if you grab from the bottom to the top, you're saying name it from the bottom to the top. And likewise, from the top to the bottom is naming it from the top to bottom. So with that in mind, I'm going to say top to bottom and just click apply, and we now have our top to bottom naming. Not the greatest feature, but it is a huge time saver for when you do need it. So one more thing for this super long little video here, which I gotta go fix that property before it is in the store for you. So this script is going to come with updates. You won't see it, but it's going to pop up as long as you have allowed your network properties. And in this settings panel, soon I'm going to be implementing something called a show extra option. So any freebies I put up on my website, you'll also have, and then you'll also have some controls that I'm still testing out. I just really wanted to get this script out and see how, get some feedback. I've got a lot more stuff planned. This is something I have never seen. This panel right here, it is awesome. I use it every day. I'm not even just saying it. I would buy it if I didn't already have it. It is a lifesaver. And one purchase, you get a lifetime of updates. And so for $20, if you use the coupon code MotionParty on my website, is 20% off. Or if you miss that, it's only $25 for a lifetime license. With the motion script that is easily the most powerful script that I personally have ever worked with, for After Effects. Why spend $80 at a website like AE Scripts for something that doesn't give you even half as much control and only one of these panels? So with that, this was Matt from Mount Mograph. Thanks for putting up with this video. I really hope that you enjoy this script if you do end up purchasing it. I'm going to probably be using it for my videos down the road, but it is not something you need to purchase if you don't have the money. I want to always be providing free content for you guys. That is the most important part for me of living, is learning and, just spreading the knowledge and all that. This script, I'm putting it up for really, really cheap just because I want a little bit of help out just in keeping this Mount Mograph channel going. I've passed up on a little bit of work and free time and stuff just to post videos. And, it's something I love giving what I can to you guys. The motion graphic community is awesome. And yeah, please support me, and I will do my very best to keep this script growing and becoming more and more useful, and also keep cool content coming out for you guys. So anyway, I really appreciate you if you stuck around for this video. Once again, the coupon code is Motion Party for 20% off the motion script with lifetime updates. And yeah, just change the way you animate, lose the graph editor, and get the delicious motion you craved. This was Matt from Mograph. You guys are the bee's knees and complete rock stars. And yeah, have a good one, guys. See ya.